Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Again, this is Aniko, your amigo, as usual. I always say as I start, please subscribe, like, share, tell a friend to tell a friend, tag and share as much as possible. Ring that bell so that you may get all of our notifications whenever we upload. And this is another episode of a solo podcast. And today, as usual, I told you this is a Coke series, and today too I am taking a Coke, so you can grab one, you too, wherever you are, and take an easy zip with me. Thank you very much for liking. Thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you very much for watching our contents. Thank you very much for telling a friend and telling another friend and tagging and sharing. And thank you very much. I really appreciate your efforts for helping us. You can also support us. Our numbers are down there. You can support us with anything in M-Pesa. We are trusting God to do great things here in the future. So, as I tell you today, as usual, let me introduce with starting to tell us about the history of the great Coca-Cola. You see, Coca-Cola, as I said, ilianzishwa na mtu alikuwa anaitwa Mr. John Pemberton. John Pemberton had suffered greatly during the wars. He was a military man, and so he suffered greatly during the war. If I say the war, you should know which one I mean, that happened during the late 1800s. So during this war, he suffered a lot. He had many injuries, and the doctors actually thought that he would not make it, that he will die. So what really happened is that Dr. Pemberton was laid in hospital, and being laid in hospital, the doctor administered to him lots and lots and lots of morphine to control and ease the pain as usual. Okay, they thought he won't make it, as I've said, but eventually or miraculously Mr. Pemberton made it, but he made it being addicted with morphine. Alikuwa addicted na morphine when he came out of that hospital. So what happened? As an addict of morphine, he tried to look for another alternative. And in those days, in the late 1880s, there were many medicines, most of them made out of cocaine and wine to ease pain and other things. One of them was one called Vin Mariani. And Vin Mariani was a drink that Pemberton thought that will help him control the addiction of morphine. So aliendelea kukunywa Vin Mariani, and Vin Mariani ilikuwa like a medicine, a painkiller of a sort, and when he took it, actually it eased his pain. But as time iliendelea, Mr. John Pemberton alifikiria that he can create his own kind of Vin Mariani, because he also had a sort of experience with medicine and all sorts of lab things. So he created his own out of coca leaves, coke for cocaine, or coca leaves, extracts from coca leaves, and from cola nuts. He extracted caffeine, and so he created something with other ingredients, obvious, and chemicals, na akakuja na kitu ilikuwa inaitwa it was called French wine of coca, French wine of coca, French wine of cola, sorry, French wine of cola. So alikuja na French wine of cola, na vile alikuja na French wine of cola, the ingredients, they were just the same na zile zilikuwa kwa Vin Mariani, though he had added some other things into the French wine of cola. So this was the start of his journey towards creating Coca-Cola, because time vile iliendelea alikuwa anauza a bottle of French wine of cola at only 1 cent, 1 cent in terms of dollars, not shillings. So what happened is that during this period aliendelea kuuza hii kitu na akaona he needs to change, and to make more sales he need to make something yenye hadi watoi wanaweza kunywa. So Mr. John Pemberton came up with an idea of removing the alcohol, the wine, from this beverage, because it was apart from containing extracts from coca leaves and also caffeine. It also contained wine. It was an alcoholic drink. So the first step, alikuwa anataka kutoa the alcoholic content from the French wine of cola. Okay, so what he did, alikuja akatoa the alcoholic content from the French wine of cola. But when he tested it, ilionja very bitter. And what he did, he took a lot of sugar, refined sugar, and he added into this content and some carbonated water, and so akakuja na Coca-Cola. He didn't call it Coca-Cola, but the person who called it Coca-Cola was somebody who was called Robinson. Mr. Robinson alikuwa bookkeeper. He was a bookkeeper of Mr. John Pemberton in his business. So he's the one who came up with the name Coca-Cola because they could no longer call it the French wine of cola. So they called it Coca-Cola. And simply you'll understand that it had cocaine, yeah, extract from coca leaves, which are cocaine, obvious. And also it had some caffeine, which comes from cola nuts. So it was coca from cocaine and cola from cola nuts. So Coca-Cola, it came to be. Surprisingly, what he expected did not come through, because after a whole year, manze walikuwa wameweza tu kuuza 50 a stock worth 50 let me check, $50. Yeah, that is what they were able to sell. Just imagine. So it was frustrating for a whole year's sale of stock. And so Mr. John Pemberton hakuweza kumake a good profit from Coca-Cola during that time, until time yenye he was in his sick bed, because he was suffering from a lot of pain and he could not control the pain. So he was in hospital, and in that time when he was very sick, ndio aliamua kuuza the company, the Coca-Cola, the business, the company. Aliuza to somebody called Asa Greg Chandler. So Chandler bought it in the year 1891, and he's the one who made Coca-Cola famous. How did he make Coca-Cola famous? Mr. Chandler, what he did, alikuwa anaongea na companies wanaweka the logo of Coca-Cola in their merchandises. Calendars zilikuwa na logo ya Coca-Cola. Doorposts za biashara zilikuwa na logo ya Coca-Cola. Everywhere you go ulikuwa unapata Coca-Cola. Different carriages, hizi carriages kama za kubeba vitu, tuite containers, zilikuwa na logo za Coca-Cola. Everywhere ungeona Coca-Cola. So that is how Mr. Chandler managed to advertise Coca-Cola, na ikajulikana almost everywhere in the United States of America. If you want to know which place exactly did these all things happen, kuja next time and I will show you how it went on later on, because later on Mr. Chandler wanted to remove cocaine from Coca-Cola, and you'll know what he did, because during the 1880s cocaine was not illegal, it was legal, yeah, but because he needed the talk to be removed from the mouths of people about Coca-Cola containing cocaine, he needed to remove the cocaine content from Coca-Cola. Let's go to today's event. Today, what I want to tell you, my viewers, and especially the black people of Africa, manze, we are important. Kumekuwa na hiyo aspect that Africans are not important, because tumefundishwa many things, that we have low IQ, our minds are not as good as the minds of the white people. Tumeambiwa how weak we are, even educationally we've been made to see ourselves as nobodies. Understand? Even in the aspect of education. So today, this video is just for the black man, you see, so that the black man may understand how strong and powerful he is. We are going to talk about slave trade. We are going to talk about the pyramids of Egypt. We are going to talk about education. We are going to talk about the earliest libraries. We are going to talk about wealth, the richest men who have been in the world. In the video, if you've been looking at our content, there is a video that we are talking with Lynette, who is one of my co-hosts here, and she was asking, what did we have? She was trying to say that we are where we are currently kwa sababu ya the white man's efforts. That without the white man, we could not be here. But to some extent, I asked her, why are you saying so? She was trying to say that we wouldn't have education, we wouldn't have education, we wouldn't have Christianity, we wouldn't have many things without the white man. You see, to some aspects, somebody may think that she was right. Yeah, but if you go into history, you realize that Africans, we used to have a lot of things. We used to have our own form of education. We used to learn. So we are also going to talk about intelligence. As we talk of intelligence, we are also going to talk about technologies. You understand? So just continue watching. My name is Aniko, as I have said, and I'm always your amigos. Please subscribe, like, share, and tell a friend to tell a friend. Ring that bell. Don't forget. Okay? That's what I always say, bro. So let's go to point one. What is Africa? And why Africa? Why is it that we are so low? Why is it that we consider ourselves poor in everything? Poor mentally, poor in terms of wealth, poor in terms of IQ. So why do we consider ourselves that way? Why don't we also see ourselves as people who can be superior? You see, because if we take, for example, the line of sports, we are wherever we go to, whichever sports we enter into, we always lead. Take, for example, the 100 meters. Who are the leaders? 100 meters race ni wanaume weusi na wanawake weusi, the blacks. Go to America, ni wase weusi, there are black people who are leading in those races. Go come here in Africa, we are the ones leading. Come in the area of football, look at football. Have you ever seen any country in Africa borrowing players from the white lands? No, but they get players from Africa. You see, come into the game of rugby. If we talk about rugby, it is dominated with black people. You see, come into the game of tennis. This lady, you all know the lady. She is black and her sister is black. If we go to the game of the game of the rich, they call it the game of the rich. You know what game? Yeah, that game, the game of the rich. Tiger Woods is a black man. So if you talk of games and sports, we lead. You see, so this is where I want us now to understand. Let us start from the parts of negativity. You see, slave trade began it began a long time ago. We won't just say in the 1800s or in the 16th centuries, but slave trade has been. Slave trade did not just begin with the black man, and it is not only the black men who used to be slave traded. Even Indians were slave traded. You see, you understand? The Chinese were slave traded. It wasn't only the black men. But when they came to Africa and they realized that African men are stronger, they captured them and took them and they subjected them to forced labor and sold them, because even those people who are buying slaves will consider strength as one of the things that one of the aspects that made a slave more expensive. So the more expensive the slave was, the more money the seller would get, you see. So slaves were bought in terms, one, of their strength, height, and beauty. You see, women. Yeah, so Africa had good, strong men, tall, strong, and huge. They were not just fat. One person said that the statement was that they were not just fat, but they were strong. Africa had strong men. So it is said that the first slave man was a king in the coast of East Africa, who was captured by an explorer. But he told the explorer that, please release me. When you come after a year, I will give you 100 slaves. So after 1 year, the man came back, and as the king promised, he gave him 100 slaves. And it went on and went on and went on. And even Africans, some of us Africans, started selling our own brothers. You understand? So that was the beginning of slave trade. And so slave trade led even to the slavery of the minds of the black man. And there is nothing that is as bad as enslaving the mind of a person. And we think the way we think today in this current time and age because our minds have been enslaved. You ask any black man, he will tell you that the white man is superior. The white man is superior. But as I have said, let us go back in time of knowledge. If we talk of the great philosophers, and when you talk of knowledge and academics, we go back to the Greeks. You understand? They were the people who were learned. They had education. They knew everything. They knew philosophy. They knew science. They knew mathematics. We have Socrates. We have Plato and many other philosophers. But if you study the lives of the philosophers, you will realize that almost all of the Greek philosophers, they came to Africa to get knowledge, to acquire knowledge, to learn. Why did they come to Africa? They came to Egypt so that they may learn what Egypt had. And that was knowledge. And so they went with that knowledge back to Egypt, to Greece, and taught it to people as philosophy. Most of the philosophers got knowledge from Greek and they went and taught them there. And so most of the knowledge that are in the world, science, talk of the philosophies, talk of mathematics, all these have their roots from Greek. And that's why you realize that most of the scientific names are Greek. You understand? Because the Greeks taught it to other people. But where did the Greeks get it? They got it from the black people. So it's time for a black man to be proud that all these things came from us. Why are we talking of history and not the present? We are talking of history because we should realize that the history dictates what is in us. What is in us as in the DNA that we have. If now somebody will know that his DNA is a great DNA, it's a DNA of greatness, he will start acting as a great man. He will throw away that ideology that is a nothing, that is dark and he cannot do anything good, and throw away that idea and bring himself back to the place where he should be. And which is that place? The place of strength. That black people, we are strong. Black people, we are powerful. You understand? So the Greeks, Socrates, Plato, all the great Greek philosophers, study their lives. You realize that at a point, they came to educate themselves in Africa. Ask yourself, why did they come to Africa and not any other part of the world? They didn't go to Rome. They didn't go to any other place. They came to Africa. You see? Africans had traveled for a very long time. I'm coming to the issue whereby we are told that a certain person, a white man, this one was the first person to see this, was the first person to see Lake Victoria, the first person to see Mount Kenya, the first person. The question is, when they went there, didn't they find people? So they were not the first people. When they went there, they found people. Yeah, they found people. And Africans had been traveling, Even before Christopher Columbus came to Africa, the black people had been traveling. We've been going to places. There's a statement by Christopher Columbus that states that there's a route to the Americas from that the black people had established in the ancient times. It's only that that route is treacherous, but it is a shortcut to the Americas. That means the black people have been going to places, even the Americas. You understand? So what I'm trying to say is that when it comes even to going to places, we travel and knew all these places even before the white man came. Let us now go to the place of the origin of mankind. It is Africa. We all know everywhere, all over the world, that Africa is the cradle of mankind. Africa is the cradle of mankind. And even those who believe in creation, God created man from clay. There is no white clay. We only have brown clay or black clay. So every single person in the world is from Africa. You see, is a descendant of a black man. So whichever place you go, whichever place you live, in Asia, in America, in England, even if you have blonde hair, just know that you are a descendant of a black man. In fact, there is nobody who is white actually. Everybody is just black and different shades of black. You see? Yeah. Some of them have faded a lot so that they are white. Some of them have maintained their color, so they are black. Yeah. So there's nobody who is white. Some of us are black. Some of us are faded black. Okay. Yeah. Let us continue. So I want us to know that black people have been traveling. Talk about the Moors. I believe you've heard about the Moors who ruled Spain at a certain time. And when they went to Spain and they took charge, that means they are powerful. You cannot just go to somebody's place and win a war and start being in charge. No, they were strong people. And the Moors ruled Spain for a period of time. If you want to know about the Moors, go just search the Moors and you know the history of the black people. They were called the Moors. Even in Asia, there were black people, black Chinese, black Chinese, black Japanese. They were there, and most of them they were rulers. There have been pictures where the black people in the Asian places were drawn. The pictures show that the black man is seated on a higher place and with his fellow black people, and some few white guys, and the rest are white people, in that he's like a ruler ruling the other people. So, and these photos are ancient. You talk of so many years ago. Yeah. So black man, when it comes also to power, we were strong, we were powerful. You see, the black people in Europe, in England, in Europe, in America, not all of them went there because of slavery. Not all of them went there because of slave trade. No, there have been black people in Europe, in England, in America, even before the slave trade. So it's not slavery that took us there. You see, we came from Africa and went there. That means we've been traveling. We knew the routes even before the white man knew the routes. You see, what does that denote? That just denotes the way we are intelligent. So this this is not for us to demean the white man. No, it is for us to know that we are strong and capable. Africans, we are strong and we are also capable. You understand? Let us go to the issue of technology. Technology. I've talked about the Greeks getting their knowledge from Africa. And now let us go to the issue of technology. When we are speaking about technology, let's come to the pyramids of Egypt, actually returning back to Egypt, you see. And when we are talking about Egypt, about Ethiopia, we must realize that all these places were occupied with pure black people, not Arabs, you see. The Arabs we see in Egypt currently came so much later on, okay? And because of intermingling with people and all that, the result is what we see today in Egypt. But the Egyptians were black people, pure black people, just like me, just like the other black person that you're seeing next to you. We were black, they were black people. You understand? They were pure black people. So, talking of the pyramids of Egypt, okay, I'm going to put a clip there. You'll see that the pyramids of Egypt have been for a long time. The black men have been told that the pyramids of Egypt were tombs for the pharaohs. But lately, it has been said that the pyramids of Egypt were not tombs, but they were electric generating. They were electric generating machines. Let's call them so. You see, they were generators for electricity in those old times, in those old age, and this is pure electricity. Pure electricity. No combustion, no destruction of the environment. It is pure, it is clean. You understand? It is pure and it is clean. When it comes to mathematics, the pyramids, the way they were built, even up to today, the scientists cannot understand nor explain how they were created. Even up to today, what does that mean? That the technology that was used to build the pyramid have not yet been found. Even now, during the age of the computers, they say it is hard to build those pyramids. Such huge stones, they were huge stones that were piled together in straight lines, geometrically straight. Those days there were no computers, there were no these machines that we have today that are being used in engineering and construction. No, we didn't have them. But the pyramids are they are sophisticated when it comes to studying them. They were built in such a way that even the scientists currently cannot understand. What is that? It is knowledge. It is knowledge. Talking about knowledge, the earliest university, the earliest university was in Africa. You understand? The earliest university was in Africa. The oldest university has been in Africa. So what does that mean? That means even when it comes to knowledge, we were very much knowledgeable, very much wise, very much clever, even before the white men came to Africa, into our land. You understand? So when it comes to technology, we were high. When it comes to knowledge, we were up there. Sema kukua juu, tulikuwa juu. We were high. We were not high because of bank, but high because God had blessed us. We were high. We were high in everything. You see, we were rich. Talking about wealth, come to the place of wealth. Man, you know somebody called Mansa Musa? It is said that in the history of mankind, no one has ever been richer than Mansa Musa. Only Solomon has been richer than Mansa Musa. But when you say in the history of mankind, we are not talking of religion. We are talking of now something that can be proven even through science, that Mansa Musa is the richest person in history of mankind. In history of mankind, yeah, Mansa Musa was so wealthy. Mansa Musa was the king of Mali, you see, and he was so wealthy that when he passed through Egypt, he left Egypt bankrupt because he used to pass with a lot of gold and gold dust that he will leave and pour everywhere, and people will take and leave nations bankrupt. He was a Muslim. So tell me about wealth. Africa, we are wealthy. Tell me about knowledge. Africa will be knowledgeable. Tell me about technology. There is no technology compared to the technology that built the pyramids of Egypt. You understand? Many other things. As we continue, we are going to notice that Africa has been a place of greatness. And a black man, wherever you are a great man. Don't look down upon yourselves. You see. Number two, as we continue talking about wealth, Africa is the richest continent. Why am I saying Africa is the richest continent? Africa is the only place that you can get lots and lots of minerals and resources than any other place. You see, talk of gold, talk of silver, talk of cobalt, talk of diamond, talk of oil. Tell me what you won't find in Africa. Every single thing, expensive stones, precious stones, you'll find them here in Africa. You see? And that's why you see there is war continuously in lands like Congo. Why? Because they have so much minerals that white people want to tap. And the only way they can tap from these places is, you know what? I won't state it. You know what? Okay, so we have resources, lots of it, lots of it, lots of it. Resources upon resources upon resources upon resources, and that is untapped. Talk about strong health. It's called the DNA. Strong, yeah, strong health. When in the year 2020, late 2019 and 2020, there was the coronavirus. We all know how corona ate people in the world. We all know how many people died in the world. But do you know when it came to Africa, what happened? You see, they tried giving us their medicine, but most of Africans, actually most of we Africans did not even take the vaccine against coronavirus. We survived. We did not die like most people died in other countries. You see, there are places like China where black people were beaten because they are not dying, because they were not dying. You see, so we are even our DNA. We have strong DNA. You understand? A stronger one. Okay, we can fight diseases easily. We fight diseases. We are strong. We are healthy. So, Africa, if you're a black man, you better be proud of yourself. You see, also when it comes to leaders, we also have prominent great leaders. Prominent great leaders like Nelson Mandela, who was a wise leader. We've had prominent great leader in Africa, and some of them, if I mention them, people will think that they were bad. But if actually we see what they did in their nations, talk of Gaddafi. During his time, do you know how Libya was? It was a great place to be. You felt great to be a citizen of Libya. If you lived in Libya during the days of Muammar Gaddafi and today, my friend, you realize that there's a great, huge difference between the two ages. And when he died, I believe the people are now regretting what they did. So we've been having also great leaders in Africa, even though we have also issues that have been bringing us down. There have been leaders who are corrupt and all sorts of things. But where there is a positivity, there's always a negativity, to understand. So what I can say is that as Africans, we should stop looking down upon ourselves. I'm going to another aspect of religion. Religion, you see. When we read the Bible, we see many characters, of which in our heads we've been made to see them as white people. If you ask any black man what was the color of Abraham, he will tell you he was white. When you ask any person what was the color of Christ Jesus when he lived on earth, somebody will tell you he was white. When you ask somebody what was the color of Moses, somebody will tell you he was white. You understand? But actually, when you read the Bible, if you read, for example, the book called Songs of Solomon, chapter 1, I think, verse 3, you realize that person is saying that I am black. Okay? He himself is stating that he's black. You understand? If you see the vision of John in the book of Revelation, his vision of Jesus Christ, he described how he sees Jesus. He had white hair, his face was shining. But when he gets to his feet, he said that his feet looked like burnt brass, or yeah, burnt brass. If you take a metal and burn it, it gets oxygenated. And what color does it become? You know, you don't have to be told. Yeah, so burnt brass, other Bible say bronze, and yeah, but it's a metal. So when you burn a metal, you know what color it becomes. It becomes oxygenated and it turns into black color. You understand? Coming against the issue of creation, God created man with clay, and clay is black as the black man. You understand? So uh, God created man with clay, and the clay is black. So Adam was black, Eve was black. The descendants of Adam, Cain and Abel, were black. The only person who had a different color was when Isaac's wife gave birth to twins. One of them being Jacob, and the other one being Esau. And the Bible describes Esau and says that Esau was red. He was red. So he didn't say that he was red like color red. You know, red how he is, you understand. When a child is born, it's red. That means, why didn't they describe Jacob? That means they literally knew the color of Jacob. Okay? So they didn't say Jacob is white. They said Esau is red. You see, so you know what color. If your descendants were black, that means you are black. You see, so most of the characters in the Bible must have been black people. Okay, yeah. The other day, let me not talk about that. But most of the characters, even in the Bible, must have been black people. Some people say even Christ himself might have been a black person. Okay, so black people, don't look down upon yourselves. Don't think lowly of yourselves. Africa is a great land, and there are ways that we can restore our greatness by electing leaders who know how to lead, by electing leaders who are not corrupt, by electing people in places of leadership, people who can lead us with intelligence and with wisdom. You understand? Okay, so Africa, we've been linked with other evil things like witchcraft and all that. But do you know which continent has been full of witchcraft and magic until now? It is not Africa. England was the place that many witches and wizards were banned in the medieval ages. Yeah, this issue ya kuchoma wachawi haikuanza Kenya. The issue of banning witches did not begin here in Kenya or here in Africa. The issue of banning witches and wizards began in England. They used to be banned. You see, in England there were so many witches. And so you can't say that black people are the only witches and wizards. No. You understand? When it comes to godliness and holiness, we knew God, we understood God, we prayed to God in our different ways. So Africa, black man, wherever you are, if you're a black man in Africa, if you're a black man in America, if you're a black man in Jamaica, if you're a black man in Europe, if you're a black man in England, if you're a black man in Mississippi, if you're a black man in Asia, black man in China, black man in Taiwan, black man in Thailand, black man in Tokyo, Japan, black man in South Korea, black man in North Korea, black man in Australia, black man whichever place you are, and you are a black man, be proud of yourself and know that you're a great man. Yeah, please, as I said when I was beginning, subscribe, like, share, tell a friend to tell a friend, and ring that bell. As usual, my name is Aniko, and I am your amigo, and this is the Cock series. Thank you for watching.